Hi, movie lovers. I'm back. I took a couple of weeks off for the holidays and also because I was under the weather. Now I feel like 100% again. Well, okay, 95 or something. Whatever. I can now tell you about the last movie that I watched in 2021. Don't Look Up. Before I get to the details of this political satire and the future spoiler warnings for that movie, by the way, I need to talk about Adam McKay, the director and writer and producer of this film. So, spoiler warnings for his future biopic, I guess. He's behind some of the goofiest, outrageous comedies that pushed Will Ferrell into a comedic movie star. McKay was head writer of SNL from 1995 to 2001. Then he left the show to write and direct Anchorman in 2004. After that was so successful, he proceeded to make 7 more Will Ferrell vehicles, until 2015 when he started transitioning from silly Ferrell flicks.
I love desk.
Brick, are you just looking at things in the office and saying that you love them?
I love lamp.
Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it?
I love lamp. I love lamp.
To deep political satire. In that year, he had 3 movies that he helped create get released. Get Hard, his 8th and final Ferrell flick to date. Ant-Man, the movie that he stepped in to help finish writing after Edgar Wright had to leave the project. Marvel and Wright weren't the greatest fit, it seemed. And also, that same year, The Big Short was released. A biographical comedy drama about how the 2007 to 2008 financial crisis came about. It starred Christian Bale, Stephen Carell, Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt, and won him an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. This is when he started getting a little more serious, or as serious as you can as a comedy writer.
All right, that's it. Go get a congressman a cup of coffee, and if his wife calls, he's always in a meeting. All right, that's it. Scat.
After that, he wrote Vice in 2008, again starring Christian Bale and Steve Carell. This was another biological comedy drama about the life of the former Vice President Dick Cheney. Adam McKay first got the idea for Don't Look Up after researching more and more about the existential threat of climate change and how the media wasn't covering it. He's quoted as saying, "Can you believe that this isn't covered in the media? That it's being pushed to the end of the story? That there's no headlines?" While discussing it with journalist David Sirota, who responded, "It's like a comet is heading to Earth and it's going to destroy us all and no one cares." That's when he got the idea for his movie. Don't Look Up is about how 2 astronomers, Kate Dibiasky, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and Dr. Randall Mindy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, try to tell the world about how a comet discovered by Kate is going to destroy the Earth in 6 months. And no one takes them seriously. With the help of Dr. Teddy Oglethorpe, played by Rob Morgan, they present the info to President Janie Orlean, played by Meryl Streep, aka the GOAT.
I keep saying, oh, and getting to work with Meryl, she's the GOAT. She's the GOAT, right? Which, if you know, stands for greatest of all time. And then today, we're doing a press conference, and she's like, and Jonah is so comfortable with me, he's been calling me a goat all week.
And her son / chief of staff, Jason, played by Jonah Hill.
It wasn't my mother. Who
cast him aside because acknowledging the comet wouldn't help them politically. They go to the news with daytime host Jack Bremer, played by Tyler Perry, and Brie Eventy, played by Cate Blanchett. But they were more worried about the celebrity breakup of the singers Riley Bina, played by Ariana Grande, and DJ Cello, played by Scott Mescudi, aka Kid Cudi. The government finally gets on board after they need some political coverage after their Supreme Court nominee turns out to be involved in a sex scandal with the president. They plan out a mission to blow up the comet, played by Steve Fletcher, before the mission is aborted because the president's top donor, Peter Isherwell, the CEO of Bash, a tech giant, decides that the resources in the comet are too valuable to destroy, so they call off the mission headed by Ron Perlman. They instead plan a mission to launch tons of drones at the comet and break it up into tinier pieces that can be mined to make more cell phones. Real-life astronomer Gerald McKeegan was not impressed with Don't Look Up due to the fact that it would be almost impossible for the government to cover up a comet, and that the odds of anything being a planet killer are astronomically not very plausible. While I believe that the odds of Comet's left-winger and founding member of Brewers Brothers, Steve Fletcher, destroying the Earth are pretty low, this comet was a metaphor of the true crisis in not just our country but everywhere, the constant politicizing of science. In this film, the president holds rallies chanting "Don't Look Up" to convince her followers that there isn't impending doom until it's too late. In the real world, political leaders hold rallies saying the science behind the pandemic or climate change or heck even gun violence is just some conspiracy to take away our freedoms and stick our head in the sand like some sort of ostrich and say, "Not my chair, not my problem."
Not my chair, not my problem. That's what I say.
until the whole world blows up and it's both our chair and our problem. Alright, let's calm down with some interesting trivia about this movie. Jennifer Lawrence filmed most of the movie with a broken tooth, and due to COVID restrictions couldn't get it fixed, so they had to use CGI to digitally fix the tooth in post. Jonah Hill said this character was the Fire Festival as a living person, calling back to the musical festival that Ja Rule put on, luring 500 rich kids to a tropic island and stranding them with no music and no accommodations. So that tracks.
What if we have to go to the bathroom?
We'll lay out some newspaper for you. Grab you a can of Febreze.
Speaking of Jonah Hill, he came up with the idea for his character to carry around a $30,000 handbag.
And one of the things I found funny, well, you want to show the picture?
I do want
that
to show the
helped?
picture because I want to show your character. Here's your character right here, holding a purse.
Yeah, he's a little prince. That's how I would describe.
Due to COVID restrictions, and a few of my trivia on this movie are COVID related, much of the cast wasn't able to get to the set in order to do hair or makeup, so some of the wigs had to be fitted remotely. Cate Blanchett ended up bringing her own wig from home. So does that mean she gets to write it off on her taxes? The bash phones used by everyone in the movies are a failed phone that supposedly had a holographic display called Hydrogen by the cinematography camera company Red. Leonardo DiCaprio's longer beard was created by hand-weaving extensions into his existing beard. Timothy Chalamet grew his hair out while being on lockdown due to COVID, and Anna McKay loved his new look and had him keep it. And since we started with Jennifer Lawrence, we'll end with Jennifer Lawrence. Did you know that her nose ring was magnetic and that she was constantly inhaling the magnetic back to it? So no thank you to that. There, don't we feel better now? This movie was funny, duh. And as for outrageous as the characters are portrayed, they're almost believable after the last few years of watching how the public reacts. So, the horror of this isn't Fort Wayne Comet's Hall of Fame Steve Fletcher. It's the impending doom of how we as a planet would react to such a crisis after seeing how we handle our current ones. Oops, I started getting bleak again, but this movie unfortunately brings that out, which I think is one of its purposes. So hopefully we can all decide to indeed look up if this does happen, and hopefully this movie will cause people to think about science and not just what their friends on Facebook are telling them. So if you haven't watched it yet, then why are you still here? I told you spoiler warning at the beginning. But that being said, if you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. You're bound to enjoy it one way or another. And I'm Mr. Movie Lover, and Happy New Year! Come on. Let's make this year a better than ever year. See you later, refrigerator. Bye.